We are East Berkshire Palestine Solidarity Campaign, and we are really excited to be welcoming Yousef here tonight with his film. So, Yousef Alhelou is an independent journalist, political analyst, regular commentator on a number of international media outlets, and a filmmaker based currently in London, England. Yousef reported from Gaza for 8 years for a number of international media outlets before moving to Oxford, England, after he was awarded a fellowship in journalism from the University of Oxford in 2013. He obtained a master's degree in international relations. Yousef's sister Asma and her 7 children were killed on the 10th of December 2023 by an Israeli strike on their home in Gaza City. They remain buried under the rubble until this moment. Dozens of Yousef's relatives and over 250 journalist colleagues are among over 70,000 killed so far. Yousef was the last person to film Gaza extensively during his 2-month trip to Gaza in July and August 2023. He did not realise that the footage he had filmed became now an archive. Yousef's unique and personal records of Gaza in 2023 serve as a valuable archive of the colossal scale of the genocide, meted out not only on the lives and homes of Gazans, but also on the civic, historical, cultural, and heritage landmarks, recreational sites, resorts, hotels, parks, the beach, as well as all aspects of life. Please show your support and follow Yousef's Instagram account, which is up on there. Read that. And please scan the QR code if you can to make a donation to his street kitchens in Gaza, to which I think proceeds are going from this evening, also from the falafel, which is for sale at the back there. Through this film, Yousef aims to humanise Palestinians and remind the world of the most just cause, the Palestinian cause, and the suffering of Palestinians that started in 1948, over 80 years ago.
Thank you very much to the committee, P.S. Islam, Ibrahim, Josie, for this introduction. I'm glad that after a while of arrangements, I'm here tonight amongst you. This is the only film, I would say, that focuses on Gaza before the genocide and after. So it's a contrast. You'll be amazed to see how beautiful Gaza was, and it was systematically destroyed, and it is being destroyed as we speak right now. It has been always a concentration camp and a big prison, but we managed to beautify and decorate our big prison. I'll leave you with the film, and then we'll take the questions later on. Enjoy the film. I understand all of us are emotional. Whenever I watch it, I'm emotional myself. I've watched it over 100 times. And it feels each time as if it's the first time for me to watch. Because I cannot believe that loved ones are murdered, members of my family. I can't believe that beautiful Gaza is being destroyed as we speak. I wish if it's a nightmare and we wake up and find Gaza intact. It's not easy for us to travel to Gaza. We have to fly to Cairo, and from Cairo we have to take a transportation to the Egyptian-Palestinian border, Rafah border. So we booked the flight tickets, and I went on an intention to show my followers, to show the world Gaza that they have not seen before, because Gaza has been always off limits to non-Palestinians. Only Palestinians, Gazans, can go back to Gaza. Palestinians from the West Bank are not allowed to come to Gaza. So Gaza has been always a concentration camp. It has been always a big prison. So I produced the documentary from the first part, and when I returned back to London, that's it. I was going to show that film to the people of the world on my social media and so on. But for some reason, I didn't finish the editing. But when that day happened, a month later, after I returned to London, I said to myself, I need to make this film, this documentary film, a universal film. So I had to add the dramatic scenes, the war, and I came up with the idea of writing a script in English. And by the way, I had to edit this film more than 10 times because I wanted to update it. I wanted to add more footage from the war, from before the genocide, after the genocide. I wanted to update the statistics and figures of people that you saw at the end. So the intention was to show Gaza to the world, to promote beautiful Gaza to the world, because often Gaza is portrayed worldwide as a place of destruction, a place of misery and poverty, a place of masked men, armed men, wars and destruction. But no, there are some people in Gaza, millionaires in Gaza, people they like to have a normal life, decent life. As I said, I keep repeating, it has been always a big prison. It has been always a concentration camp since 1948. But we managed to beautify, we managed to decorate our prison. We are normal people. We want our children to have a normal life, better future. So the genocide started, and I kept reporting on the genocide while I'm in London from a distance. And 2 months later, my sister, my beautiful eldest sister Asma, and her 7 children have been murdered, and they are still under the rubble until this moment. We are unable to pull their bodies because due to lack of heavy machinery. And anyway, my house and my neighbor's houses, they are now annexed under Israeli control. So the Israelis now, they have annexed 50% of Gaza. Imagine Gaza is a triangle like this, they cut it in half. And they are destroying Gaza around the clock. Since the announcement of the ceasefire, the so-called ceasefire, the second ceasefire, more than 400 Palestinians have been murdered. And houses, entire neighborhoods are being destroyed as we speak. So this is my real intention. I wanted to promote Gaza, I wanted to market Gaza, I wanted to, because if you saw, I was eager to document all the beautiful places, the historical places, the recreational sites. I love Gaza, I love Palestine, I love my homeland. And unfortunately that did not last. All what I found became an archive.
Does anybody have a question?
First and foremost, I'm sure I speak for everyone in this room when I say I just want to thank you profoundly for this beautiful, exceptional documentary. It's worthy of any wonderful, it surpasses anything I've seen on National Geographic or BBC4 and the likes, who present such incredible illustrations of human life and existence. And what really resonated with me was the connection of the Palestinian people with the land. And what I loved about it was how, obviously there's reference to the occupation, the ongoing Nakba, but the similar to the resilience. And I think one of my favourite expressions I've heard used to describe the people of Palestine is that Gaza teaches life. It's because of Palestinians that I actually took Shahada. So I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I wanted to ask you, what have you witnessed in terms of people's mentality, their awareness, their understanding of the situation since watching your film? Have you seen it change people's minds? And I would just love to know more about the reaction, because you're so right when you said in our world, we're so accustomed to seeing Palestinians suffering. And actually, it's very easy to forget that Palestinians are also so full of joy and life and hope and strength and fortitude and bravery. So this is why a documentary like this is so important, because it doesn't fixate on suffering. It's very important to see the scale of the genocide, but also to be reminded what we're fighting for. And the final thing I'd like to say before you answer my question, inshallah, is that I do believe Gaza will rise like the Phoenix, like you said. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is really inspiring. I'm happy to see people are inspired because of the resilience and salute of the Palestinians of Gaza. I believe Gaza will rise from the ashes. That's why I chose the title as the Phoenix, because Israel keeps destroying and we keep rebuilding. And funnily enough, I say, Israel keeps killing Palestinians and we keep making babies. So we are staying there. We are not going to vanish. We are the indigenous people of the land. Our grandparents lived there for generations. So people, when they come to my film, to watch my documentary film, they are surprised, first of all, to see how creative, how innovative the Palestinians of Gaza are. Because despite the hardships, despite the miseries and restrictions of imports, exports, despite the horrendous suffering, we managed to make life in Gaza. We managed to remain alive in Gaza because we love life. We like to have a better future. We like to feel that we are up to date with the latest technology. I was thinking to leave London and go and live in Gaza, honestly, when I was there. I spent 2 months, and I was struck by the hard work of Palestinian businessmen who managed to build all those beautiful places, resorts, hotels, infrastructure, swimming pools, sports. We had 7 universities, all of them destroyed intentionally. So much has been ongoing for the past. So all those developments only happened in the last 5 years, or let's say the last 10 years. So people are left with an astonishment. Gaza, wow, that was very beautiful. But also people, they ask questions such as, wow, you have been suffering a lot, but yet you are calm people, you are kind, you smile, we appreciate you. Because we are normal people, we are not aliens. And we are described as the most educated people across the Middle East. Because we believe education is indispensable and it will open many doors for us. You will see many people hold master's degrees, PhDs, as Palestinians I mean. And the sumud comes from the notion that we have accustomed to the suffering. We have been doing it through miseries and wars and destructions and offensives and onslaughts. So all these hardships made us stronger and stronger. It's like the olive trees. We are deeply rooted. We are proud of our culture, our heritage. We teach life. As soon as the announcement of the ceasefire was made, Palestinians started to regather the shattered pieces of their lives. They started to go back to normality, to fix their houses if they can, to reopen their businesses, because life goes on. And that's why I'm proud that we managed to shake the consciousness of the world. Gaza has been an eye-opener. What happened during the last 2 years, I call it the most intense free educational course for the world. To teach the world who Palestinians are, what is the root cause of the issue. It wasn't about the 7th of October, so Palestinians have been suffering ever since 1948. Also in the West Bank, there's no Hamas. Gaza has been always used as a testing ground by Israel to test the latest technology. And they recently transformed Gaza into a hunger game site. They starve people to death. I have never imagined that one day people would die from hunger, man-made famine. I know many people who lost their lives. Imagine how it's hard for parents if they are not able to provide food for their children. This was so devastating. People are still living in tents. The reconstruction of Gaza has not begun yet. And Israel will not allow the reconstruction of Gaza because they will continue to blackmail and extort Palestinians to force them to surrender and raise the white flag. But the Phoenix will rise, we are not going to vanish, and Palestinians will not concede their inalienable rights. Palestinians will remain forever a dignified nation. Thank you. I'm not sure if it's going to be rebuilt anytime soon, because first of all, the debris and rubble has to be removed, and that will take at least 5 to 7 years. And then again, there's no guarantee that if we rebuild Gaza, Israel wouldn't destroy Gaza, because they have been talking about this clearly, that they have a term, they call it the mowing the lawn, whether they use this term against the human beings or against infrastructure. Each time Palestinians, they advance, each time they do something, then Israel will come and destroy and kill. The way how I visualize the reconstruction of Gaza, I think it has to be new rebuildings, because Israel has destroyed entire neighborhoods. People cannot recognize their roads, their homes. It's a demolition site, debris and rubble everywhere. But again, who's going to pay for the reconstruction of Gaza? Israel has to pay and has to rebuild, because it is still the occupying force. And under international law, the occupying force is obliged to look after the welfare of the population under its occupation. But also the blame laid on the international community for allowing Israel to cross all red lines, for collectively punishing 2.5 million people, for starving people to death, for killing children, women, paramedics, journalists, destroying hospitals, universities, schools, cemeteries and churches, Christians, Muslims. Absolutely, it was horrendous. I call the last 2 years the most horror movie in our lives that lasted for 2 years, and the whole world was watching, and those decision makers, they were watching in apathy. They were able to stop that horror movie, that Holocaust, that genocide, but they remained silent. So now we know who is with us and who is against us, who is with justice and who is against justice. We know who is in the right side of history and who is in the wrong side of history. You do not have to be a Palestinian or an Arab or a Muslim to support the Palestinian cause, which is the most just cause. It's a human cause. It's an issue about justice and injustice. Now the world knows who's the occupier, who's the occupied, who's the victim, who's the victimizer, who's the colonizer, and who's the colonized. Facts are crystal clear. Now the whole world knows who is the aggressor. The whole world knows that the suffering of Palestinians started in 1948 and even before, in 1917, when Balfour promised our homeland to the Jewish people, although we respect them so much because some of the politicians in this country, they tried to outlaw the Palestinian marches, calling them hate marches, despite the fact that many Jewish people, our comrades who support our just cause, they have been taking part in those demonstrations and they are at the forefront. And some politicians, ignorant politicians, they tried to outlaw the Palestinian flag, calling it a Hamas flag. So some politicians who were on Israel's payroll, they were trying their best to intimidate people, to discourage them from supporting the Palestinian cause. But until now, being here today, you've proven that you're a true, inspiring human being, you are on the right side of history, and we are against injustice everywhere, in Palestine, in Sudan, you name it. So, but the Palestinian cause is special because people in Palestine, they have been uprooted from their own land and they became refugees, scattered all over the world. As soon as there's a chance for me to go back to Gaza, I will go to contribute to the reconstruction. We love Palestine, we love our homeland, but it's not going to be easy because the complicity of the Western world, the so-called civilized countries who have been watching our children being burned alive, who have been watching our hospitals and schools and homes being destroyed systematically. There is context, the political situation, the occupation, it is yes, but I'm trying to focus on the human element. I'm trying to humanize Palestinians. My film, The Phoenix of Gaza, or the film of The Voice of Hind Rajab, or any other films, all these films shows Palestinians are normal human beings. We are not aggressors, we are not extremists as some of the Western media artists they try to portray. We are being collectively punished, and this collective punishment must stop. So I try through this film to clarify misconceptions, to say that look, Christians and Muslims in Gaza and the West Bank, they have been living in coexistence and harmony for generations. So don't believe all the misleading lies and forgery news. This is us, we are normal people, educated, calm, we have aspirations, we would like to live in peace and harmony, but it's not us who is making things difficult, it's the other side. It's very simple. All what they have to do is to end the occupation. And you will never hear the word Hamas anymore, because those armed groups are the result of the occupation. If there is no occupation, you would have never heard the word Hamas. So, also our brothers and sisters in the West Bank, they are miserably suffering in light of the over 1,000 checkpoints and the apartheid wall and the vicious settlers who attack the Palestinian farmers, who attack Palestinian locals. You've seen how thuggish they are. You've seen how they spit on Christians in the areas of Jerusalem and the West Bank. So somebody asked me, can you forget or forgive? No, we cannot forget or forgive. I was going to bring my family members to life. We've lost over the years tens of thousands of Palestinians. And all those lives should have been saved if Israel has been held accountable. But Israel has been enjoying impunity. I wish if the Israeli society will wake up one day and hold their officials responsible, because they are the ones who are prolonging this hatred. They are the ones who are prolonging this division between human beings. I wish one day the world will realize that Palestinians are the victims of the injustice that was caused by Great Britain in 1917. So Great Britain has a responsibility to correct the historical injustice and compensate Palestinians for the misery and suffering that has been happening since 1948. We don't blame people of this country, it's the politicians. Also, we have respect for the Jewish people who support our just cause, as I said. We respect any nation, any person who supports our just cause, because at the end of the day, none of you is free until Palestinians are free.
Never die. We live to resist, we fight to survive. We are not scared of the bombs that rain down on us day and night. We have stones, you have bombs. We don't care, we're still here, standing strong. We have courage, we have honor. We do not retreat, bow down, or surrender. We're here to stay. Generations have passed away. Our children laugh and play despite the terror you inflict each day. We have pride, we have resistance. We shall die for this existence. We are resilient. We need not slumber, just like in that dark December when caste-led massacre made us stronger. We do not forgive. We do not forget. For every infant that was taken away, we shall fight to the day when Palestine is back to the borders of 1948. The resistance is here to stay. We have no plans to emigrate. The resistance will never die. We shall live and we shall strive. Palestine will never die. The resistance is still alive.
Whenever we say our existence is resistance, and this summarizes everything. So we are existing, we are remaining, we refuse to vanish, and no one will be able to uproot us from our homeland.
Thank you, and thank you. That was
went, was it reasonable to go in, to come out? It was still a concentration camp, so I'm sure it was restricted. Was it a bit more reasonable and easier to do? And it would be interesting to know that side of Gaza before as well.
Yeah, so when you saw in the film, the only way for us to go back to Gaza is through Cairo. So when somebody goes into Gaza, you have to book your departure again. Because unfortunately, although it's a Palestinian-Egyptian border, Israel dictates on the Egyptian side when to open it and when to close it. And this raises a question mark, where is the Egyptian sovereignty? So when I went there, we had to pay money to leave Gaza, but it was around $200 up to $500 maximum per head. But during the genocide, to leave the genocide and survive, people had to pay $5,000 per head, whether you are adult or a child. Sometimes they give you discount. So a family of 5, how much that? You had to pay $25,000. Imagine if you have 10 family members. I would say, since the start of the genocide until the closure of the Rafah crossing, I would say around 150,000 people left. Those are those people who could afford to pay. But the majority of Gazans now, they have no choice but to stay, because there is no income, there is no money. So you're talking about 2.2 million people who remain in Gaza. They have no income. They rely on food handouts. They survive day by day. So even if the Israelis open the Rafah crossing, or they facilitated for people to leave, people wouldn't leave because they don't have the means, they don't have the money to leave. So that's why all attempts to ethnically cleanse Gaza has failed miserably. Somaliland is the alternative now. Netanyahu is encouraging Somaliland to absorb some Palestinians. It is also not going to be easy. And obviously Palestinians wouldn't go to Somaliland. They prefer Europe, by the way. So it wasn't easy also before the genocide. I was lucky in the year 2000. I flew from Gaza International Airport. We had an airport. So I remember when I flew from Gaza International Airport to Cairo, from Cairo to the UK in the year 2000. You see, Israel does not want Palestinians to enjoy sovereignty, and they consider the airport a symbol of sovereignty. Also, it's not easy for Palestinian Christians or Muslims to go from Gaza to the West Bank, to go to holy places, Al-Aqsa Mosque or the Church of Nativity or any other holy sites. Also, West Bankers are banned to come to Gaza. 2/3 of Gaza population are originally refugees, and half of the population in Gaza are young people below the age of 20. Gaza population is a young population. We have so much potential. And by the way, if the Palestinians of Gaza are allowed to rule themselves and to extract their natural gas reserves, Gaza will become Singapore or Dubai. Because Israel, and as we speak now, they steal Palestinian gas of the seashore of Gaza. Also, they steal our resources in the West Bank. So Israel has been trying to kill the so-called two-state solution. They don't want Palestinians to have their own independent state. That's why they are making life miserable, so that people unilaterally leave. In the West Bank, life is harsh and miserable in the occupied city of Jerusalem as well. So wherever you go, Gaza, West Bank, Jerusalem, Palestinians are suffering in silence, while the world is turning a blind eye. Everybody thinks ceasefire in Gaza now is holding. It's not holding. It is Israel who maintains the power, and Palestinians have no choice but to absorb all the attacks. If I talk for hours, it's not going to be enough, but I will stop here. As I said, the main purpose of the film is to humanize Palestinians and to show you how we were able to survive under the most harsh living conditions. And by the way, let me just remind you that we have over 10,000 Palestinian political prisoners and hostages in Israeli jails. And many of those hostages, because they had been captured from their homes, they were not in the battlefield. Many of those Palestinian hostages and political prisoners, they have been languishing in Israeli bars, in Israeli jails, for more than 20, 30, 40 years. And the world doesn't talk about them. It seems that Palestinian lives don't matter. It seems that only Israeli lives are more valuable than Palestinian lives. And this reflects the hypocrisy and the double standards of the world.
I just wanted to ask, I've only really become aware of everything to do with Palestine since October 7th. I just didn't pay attention.
I mean, people wouldn't live in those circumstances. I tried to bring my family to the UK as a British citizen myself, but our demand was rejected because they said the Ukrainian scheme was only one-off, and they don't consider us as, legitimate or eligible to evacuate our families from Gaza. Even for temporary basis, we don't encourage the ethnic cleansing, but we told them we need to bring our families, because we are British citizens, temporary until if it's safe, and then they can go back. It's up to them. So the orphans, you're talking about 50,000 orphans, they live in Gaza. It's not possible to evacuate them. Israel has hindering the work of all international organizations, whether it's UNRWA, whether it's the Red Cross, or many other organizations. So the fate of those orphans is unknown. They are being hosted by their relatives. They live in the streets, in the tents. There is no statistics, there are no correct data, because the health sector has collapsed. And all employees, many of them, they left, killed. So the situation is very bad. You will struggle to find, piece of information here and there. This again shows Israel's reckless behavior. They don't respect international law. Until this moment, they refuse to allow international journalists into Gaza because they are hiding so much crowds. So it's up to the world to pressure Israel to allow journalists, to allow doctors, to allow volunteers, to open the borders, to allow aid. And by the way, regarding the aid, there is misconception about the aid. It's not free aid. The goods coming into Gaza, it's merchandise. It's goods paid by Palestinian business people. It's not free. Israel is deceiving the world. So when those aid trucks come to Gaza, some of them are being distributed, but the vast majority of the goods coming into Gaza, it's paid goods. Palestinians are paying money for those goods to come into Gaza. So it's hard to tell what's the fate of those children.
And I really can't string my words together because it's so horrified to see the film, and I don't know how you're even standing and talking to us. I'm so emotional without having family in Gaza. So, is there any way we could help? Because I am working for JCWI, the Joint Council for the Welfare of Immigrants, and I didn't know there was this East Berkshire Slav campaign for Palestine. It's good that I got to know that there is a campaign here as well, because we usually work in London and do everything in London. But it's good that locally we are communicating, and then we are arranging these campaigns to work on massive projects, which is good. And
I think the only way is that we, people with big following, they have 1 million followers on Instagram, I can share some of your videos so we educate people what services you offer. I think this is the only way I think of, because people cannot get asylum while they are in Gaza. They have to come illegally through Europe, through Turkey and the Mediterranean Sea. So the advices that you can share is through social media, I would say. What does that your organization stands for?
It's called JCWI, the Joint Council for the Welfare of Immigrants.
Okay. Yeah, well, if they are lucky, if they leave Gaza at first of all, and then if they risk their lives and come here, I will get in touch with you, and we can share some of your videos on my Instagram.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up as well. We've got another question over here.
I was amazed to see that he built a little town, and it was called the Rebel Town, and he put the Palestinian colours on the flag. And I had no idea, but it showed that this was a way of him knowing that there's something bad happening. And I saw it come up in his artwork and stuff. But I just want to know, your child you brought to Gaza, and he saw it before it has been destroyed. What is his experience now, being back in Britain, back in school? What are his interactions like with his friends, and how have the teachers been with him in school? Because I don't know if those conversations are happening in school with the children, or if they're even encouraged. And I feel that maybe this is going to be one of the battles that I know I definitely will be taking it on with any schools, is if my child has an opinion, that he should be allowed to give that opinion about what's happening in Palestine. But yeah, basically I want to know, what's your experience as a father and in your family here in Britain?
Yeah, good question. So my son Hamza, when he was in Gaza, he enjoyed his time himself. It was his first time to see his cousins. He was born in London. And he learned Arabic very quickly. In 2 months' time, he was speaking fluent Arabic because no one was speaking English, so he had to speak Arabic. He was delighted to see beautiful Gaza, the sea, the beaches, and the different places that he never saw before. So back in the UK here, for over 2 years, we've been watching news, especially Al Jazeera English, all the time. He has been seeing me going into studios, Al Jazeera, Sky News, TRT, doing interviews as a political analyst myself. My daughters also, they have been watching my social media, sharing news, and so they are aware of the injustice, they are aware of the genocide, and I try to assure them that, this is not the first time that we are subjected to brutality and offenses and onslaughts and destruction and killing and mass murder. I'm traumatized because of the genocide, because I lost loved ones. We try to go back to normality, but as kids, I think they come over quickly because they are here now. At school, they took part in the International Day of Culture Day. So my daughters, they dressed the Palestinian embroidery dress, the kufiya. My son's mates or friends, they know that he's Palestinian. They were talking a little bit about Palestine, about the injustice. But it wasn't that much. I think they were restricted from talking about Palestine. And at some point, I had to go to the school to complain because he was, shut down by one of his teachers because he was talking about Palestine. And I know some students, they were banned from wearing the Palestinian kufiya or the watermelon or the pins or different stuff. So they are aware of the things. We took part in demonstrations. They educate other people, and they are proud that they are Palestinians. And I think the young generation, they know now the root cause of the issue. They are not afraid anymore. In light of the social media, digitalization, things cannot be hidden, and everyone should be allowed to express themselves. everyone is allowed to have their own opinion heard. Thank you.
I think that's probably all we've got time for now. Thank you everybody so much for coming. Please also follow Yousef. Please share about this film. Please encourage people to go and see it. I think, as Yousef has shown, the power is in showing this to the world and allowing them to see beautiful Palestine and support its result.
Feel free to share my contact details with other people if they're interested to screen a film. I'll be happy to travel to any city. And yeah, follow my updates on my social media.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.